Okay, let's go.
Hello guys, my name is Casey Star from Esports African News, and all the way from Nigeria I flew down to Uganda to meet this very interesting young man who I happen to find in the Swahili Esports Champions life in Uganda. And I thought to myself, he's the president of Kenyan Esports. I need to have a conversation with this man. He's a very exciting and interesting man. Don't worry, you get to know. But I'm going to allow him to introduce himself, right? So, sir, tell us who you are.
Thank you very much, Casey. My name is Ronny Lusigi. I'm the president of the Esports Kenyan Federation. I'm also founder of Index G Esports. It's an esports agency based in Kenya, which is where I started. And yeah, I love playing video games, and I also love soccer so much. And I'm happy to be in Uganda with you. Welcome to East Africa.
Yeah.
The best part of the world.
Oh.
The cradle of mankind.
Claims.
The region in the world where we found the first remains of humankind. So the first human, maybe Adam and Eve, were born in East Africa.
Says who? That is just your initiative. Leave East Africa out of it. So what would you say about us in the West then?
No, the first were born here, then they multiplied.
Yes. Okay. I don't agree with you. Well, let's move on. Alright, so I have several questions to ask you about the Federation regarding esports. So I'll start with the first one. What is one decision your federation, that the Kenyan Esports Federation, made that the esports community disagree with right now?
The one decision we made that the esports community disagree with.
But you also believe like it's necessary, even though they disagree.
Yeah, I think is our attempt to have checks and balances for tournament organizers.
Okay.
By checks and balances, I mean, from where we see it, the Kenyan, or largely Africa, but I speak for Kenya, the Kenyan local video gaming or esports market has no checks and balances. If I am in Malaysia, if I'm in China, if I'm in London, the publishers are around, and if I'm doing a tournament, they follow through to ensure certain standards are maintained. They follow through to ensure commitments are maintained. They follow through to ensure safeguarding of the player welfare.
Yes.
So if you organize a tournament in London today and you announce 50,000 euros or pounds prize money, the publisher will want to know there's a guarantee that people who come to this tournament will be paid. If you organize that tournament, the publisher will want to know if they have an age rating. Are you observing and adhering to that age rating? And if you go against that, they'll shut you down. And if you go against that, you'll not wake up tomorrow and do that tournament. In Kenya, we have wonderful, amazing tournament organizers, but we also have unscrupulous tournament organizers. And they move on as if nothing has happened. Nobody can check them. Nobody can check them. I'll do a tournament, I'll promise this amount of money, and I won't give you, and I collected money from you. So that's, to me, that's not proper. And for us, we thought, to us, that was the most pressing thing. We have teams, people who call themselves teams, who will enter into contracts with players, but who safeguards that? Because these players, when they don't get their prize money, when they don't get their salary, and they sign a contract, their only recourse is the Sports Dispute Tribunal in Kenya. And no matter is listened to in that tribunal if you don't have a federation. So they still come back to you and tell you, we want you to pursue this. But if you're not involved in the beginning, so I think, for me, it's just checks and balance. I think we fill that gap because publishers don't consider us as a market. Esports for us is at first a social activity. For publishers, esports is a business activity, it's a marketing activity. For us, it's a social activity because, let's be honest, how many Kenyan players will make it to EWC? How many Kenyan players will make it to PMSC? How many Kenyan players will make it to League of Legends, if ever? So for us, we must be honest that esports is a social activity that is bringing young people together to enjoy and to share a skill and to learn other skills in media like you're doing, skills as a caster, skills as a graphic designer, skills as a coach, skills as a leader, a captain. So we must safeguard that. And I think that's what I'd say is we're still trying to find a formula to date. We don't want to be overbearing, but we are also cognizant that you need to be firm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important and rightly said. And so is it like there are no rules from the federation guiding all these things, or are there no policies in place to make sure that all of this not giving esports athletes their prize pool is being topped out, or is it that they're just nonchalant about it?
My friends who are lawyers say in law there's the spirit and there's the letter.
Okay.
Yeah? There's the spirit of the constitution and there's the letter. What does the letter say? And what does the spirit say? I think we've moved for so long as an industry with the spirit. We believe that the spirit will lead you as Casey to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But history has shown us the spirit is not enough. It needs to be accompanied by the letter.
Sure.
But even when you have the spirit and the letter, you have the question of application. Okay, you've written this law, but somebody will say, I'm not a member of your federation, why should I follow this law? So the question is, should the federation govern the sport in the country? Esports, the activity. I don't care if you have the lines as publishers but somebody needs to cover the activity. I'm not saying I'm licensing you. I'm not 10 cents to license you if you're doing PUBG.
Yes.
But I want to safeguard the practice of this sport in my country. Right now, yesterday, there was massive floods, for example, in Nairobi. I don't want you to put up a tournament in a place that the government has declared as a health hazard for the floods. And you say you have no right to. Because if people go in there and they're carried by the floods, they died or they were injured or they were hospitalized taking part in e-sport.
Yeah.
If people are in a place that is not safe, if a child is exploited, if a Kenyan is exploited, because if you take money, it's called obtaining by false pretense. If you take money from me and promise me something, you are exploiting me. And we're talking about young boys and girls, teenagers, people in 18, 19. You may think of $10 as little, but somebody in a public university in Kenya will tell you what $10 can do. $10 can hold a relationship together in campus. You are one lunch away from losing your girlfriend because you didn't have money to buy chips,
Right,
Yeah.
right. Very interesting. That last part actually is true. Money rules the world, right?
Yes.
And so, because Africans, we need investors.
Yeah.
We need sponsors. We need people to, drive and to change the concept of esports just being a social activity to being a business. Now, what role do you think the federation can do in making that happen?
I think the federation, or I believe the federation, biggest role is to create a conducive environment for investment.
Yes.
And that starts with focus. I've been to many discussions where I listen to federation speak and I would say, are you Goliath? Or how big are you? Are you Microsoft or Coca-Cola? Because you find a federation telling you, we want to promote game development. We want to do this, we want to do this. Listen, esports or competitive professional video gaming, you're speaking about high-level video gaming.
Sure.
So you need to narrow. Football, Nigerian Football Federation has narrowed to competitive football. If it attempts to be part of every football being kicked in Nigeria, millions play football in Nigeria, but they guide those who've chosen to practice this football competitively towards a professional goal.
Right.
So first of all, I think esports, the best way to create a conducive environment is to make it narrow. When you make it narrow and you focus on the competitive video gaming, then you start having the building blocks of supporting the larger video gaming ecosystem. And the most we can do in supporting the building blocks that assist esports to thrive is advocacy. The best thing I can help a video game developer is to give them a book during my tournament is to give them space in our website, in our social media, but I can't be part of their integrate meetings and sessions and strategy, because there is no human and financial resource to support that. As an example, you see. So for me, I think federation, how do we set up? How do we train people from a knowledge perspective? Many people say I have an esport team, but do they know what an esport team is? Do they know what it takes to run a team? And there's nothing wrong with not knowing, but the federation now should have programs where people who have teams are being upscaled with time. This is what you should do to run a team. My first advice is normally be lean. You can't say you're a team with 10 players. Can you manage 10 players as one person? Because a team is more than paying salary. It's looking after that player, their welfare, their psychology, their well-being, their many other things. So we should create frameworks where these people can get constant training, constant exposure. How do you assist tournament organizers? Because sometimes you look at how tournaments are being run and you're like, yes, this person has the right intention to do a tournament, but they have the wrong execution. Perhaps if we upscale them and show them, if you're doing a tournament on PUBG Mobile, this is what you need to do. If you're doing a tournament on eFootball, this is the standards that are setting. If you're doing a tournament on EAFC, on Call of Duty, this is the right way to do it. And it helps us because if you're doing it in the right way, I can accredit and recognize your competition and actually use it as a benchmark in talent identification, because I know that your competition is being run the right way. So for us, it's really creating a conducive environment, which is different from what I think many people think of a federation as somebody who should really support you resourcefully, financially. The biggest resource we can give is capacity to build you. If you understand how to run a team, the branding, the marketing aspects, if I've equipped you with that, it's for you to go into the brands. Because there is no federation, soccer, athletics, rugby, that run teams. They run the national team. But you have teams in those activities. You have teams in rugby that enable the federation to pick a national team. So we should empower more people with knowledge as the biggest resource so that they can establish teams and tournaments, and through that we'll have a talent to pick.
Awesome. Very. See, I concur with what you said 100%. So that means if I'm to summarize what you just said now, first we need to build a structure where capacity building is the first thing. Because a lot of people have the mindset that let's go to federation, will give us money.
Yes.
Let's go to federation, even if they can't give us money, they can support us with resources. And those are like valid things, right, to ask for. But what about getting the root cause of the problem, which is building these players and teams and all organizers in such a way that they know what to do? Because some of them don't even know what to do. They just want to come and organize events. After organizing events, and that's what's the next thing. And these Westerners, they see that, okay, you guys are just about organizing events that are not even, quality enough to compare to what they do. Do you understand? So now, coming from a video game player point of view, what step do you think, whether a casual gamer or a grassroots player or pro player, what step do you think they should take in being able to go to the next level?
A player.
Yeah.
A player cannot exist in isolation. So I think a player, once you recognize the talent, start looking at relationships you can build. I know some players prefer to be free agents.
Yeah.
But for how long can you be a free agent? You need a support system around you. You need a support system on your branding. You need a support system on your coaching. So I think for a player, my first thing is, of course, is the commitment.
Sure.
You should have the commitment to do this. Then you should be coachable. And you can't blame players also, because most video gamers, esport players, did grow up thinking they would be professional esport players. Some of them are even thrown into the deep end. I show up for a tournament, and this tournament the winner is going to represent my country in Saudi Arabia or in Paris, and I win that tournament. All of a sudden I have to do media interviews. All of a sudden my Instagram account followers count has increased by 2,000.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, within a week, I've moved from a casual player to a player who the whole nation is looking at. That's why you need a support system around you. You need an agent to look for opportunities for you. It's the same as marathon. Kenya has got many marathoners, but without an agent, marathoners with less talent than you will compete in Valencia, Berlin. You need an agent who is walking around major marathons in the world, saying like, my player's got this time, you need to invite my player to this marathon. He starts you in the small marathons, and then you now start doing the majors.
Yeah.
Or if it's boxing, esport operates in the same way. It's hugely commercial. I think you see the situation with boxing every time it's a big fight, everybody takes the money, they go. That's esport also. So a player needs to understand this, and it's our role as the federation to assist the players. But always remember, why we're advising the players to be in an organized environment is that is the best way I can reach you.
Yeah.
It's difficult for us as a federation to manage a player for day to day. We can only elevate a player that you've seen is really doing well nationally. Then you say, how can you take this player to the next level and offer them something extra than the esports team is offering them without necessarily taking them away from their esports team? Because again, I'll repeat, there is no federation in this world of any sport that has an annual contract with the player. They deal with the player on a need basis. It's AFCON, it's FIFA World Cup, it's Olympics.
Yeah.
So it's the same way as us. We deal with that player when we think we need to help you go to the next level, go internationally. Yeah. But if you are a free agent, it means you want me as a federation to have programs for individual players. And how many players will I reach? But if you are in an organized system, which is a team, I know if I equip your team, your team will be able to serve 10, 20 players, and there will be the ripple effect. But if you want us, I don't see any model in the world that a federation is dealing directly with the player, because players always come up.
Sure.
There's no limit to, there's a new player coming up today. So it's important for this player to be in an organized environment. So for me, I'll advise them, it's not a must for your team to pay you. Most of the teams don't have a source of income, but being together with others, you are with people who've done this before. You're with people who are doing it. So join in with them. Esports is about community.
Definitely.
Find a team is the most basic unit of community. In the constitution, we say the family is the most basic unit. And say in esports, your team, your clan is the most basic unit. So start there, be committed, find a community to grow with, and then with time find a team to manage.
You said it all. That's the federation speaking. You know, they say federations sometimes they also play politics inside the state. But from what Mr. Ronny has said, he has really said a lot of things that are true. Especially from this last point that he has made. Players need to understand that they carry value. And you know, like the saying that goes, dress the way you want to be addressed. So if you're a rough esports athlete that doesn't care about personality or capacity building or being innovative and creative, nobody will see you. You won't carry value. So of course you need to be in a community that will help you grow and take the federation wherever country you are, whether in definitely Africa. I don't want to say whether in Africa or Europe. Please, in Africa, because we're dealing with Africans now. In Africa, wherever you are, imbibe yourself with communities that will help you grow, develop your skill, because there's money in this thing. And again, you don't just have to be a player. You can be a coach.
Yes.
You can dive into other career paths in esports. Esports is something that is really thriving, and we should try to match up the Western community and build something for ourselves. Right? Thank you so much, Mr. Ronny. I really appreciate this time.
Yeah, and I can add maybe for us as federations, it's not like we are perfect.
Yeah.
We are explorers. This is not something that has worked before. We are trying to find a working formula. But the biggest thing we should do as a federation is, and we are still finding out how to do it, and is an advice I'd give out there to all other national esports federations. Let us try and answer the question of what value are we offering to the players in the esports community. By that I mean the competitors, I mean the tournament organizer. If we do not answer the answer of what value are we adding to them, we'll continue having challenges in dealing with them. So let's look critically and say, what value can we add to them? Because that will bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Immediately there's a gap. So it's about us bridging this gap of the value. But I believe anything, if you have that intention, if you have that belief, if you have that commitment, it will be possible. And I'm very confident when I say that I trust that in the near future, Esports Kenya Federation will be a national federation that people will look and say, that is a model to follow.
Yes. Thank you so much. And once again, congratulations on Kenya taking second place in the Swahili Esports. And I mean, this is federation that brought that in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's some people just, it's private organizers that bring their players. But that's what we're talking about, right? Let's emulate from the Kenya Federation, what they've done. They've taken their team to a different country to go and compete. And they didn't just take her, which is Bambina. They are supporting her in every possible way, not just financial, advice, support. Yeah, all of those is very important. So again, thank you so much and congratulations. I hope to see you again in maybe Kenya. I think I'll come to Kenya.
Welcome to Kenya. Kenya is visa free for all Africans. Welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Kenya.
Yeah.
Karibu Kenya.
Yes. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a very good weekend. Bye.